Most people believe money is real, not symbolically real, not psychologically real, but physically real. They believe that somewhere, behind the screens, behind the banks, behind the numbers, there is something solid holding it all together. Gold, assets, value. But what if that belief is wrong? What if money stopped being real decades ago? Quietly, legally, and deliberately, and nobody ever explained what replaced it? Because there was a day when money changed forever. A single moment when the last connection between money and reality was cut, and almost no one noticed. To understand that day, we have to start with a simple truth most people never question. Money only works if people believe in it. Not believe it exists, but believe it means something. For most of human history, that belief was anchored to reality. Money was heavy, limited, difficult to create. Gold had to be mined. Silver had to be refined. Land had to be defended. Value could not be invented. It had to be earned, extracted, or conquered. That physical limitation shaped civilization itself. Empires rose and fell based on how much real wealth they could accumulate. Wars were fought over gold routes, silver mines, fertile land. Money was slow. Money was scarce. Money was honest. And that scarcity acted as a brake on power until humans figured out how to remove the brake. The first crack appeared when paper entered the system. At first, paper money wasn't money. It was a receipt, a claim ticket, a promise. Bring this paper back and you will receive the gold it represents. The paper wasn't valuable. The gold was. Paper simply made trade easier. But once people got used to trusting paper, something dangerous became possible. What if the paper didn't always have to be redeemed? What if most people never asked for the gold? That question changed everything. Banks realized something profound. They didn't need to hold enough gold for everyone. They only needed to hold enough gold for confidence. As long as people believed the gold was there, the system worked. So banks began lending more paper claims than gold they possessed. Money multiplied, not through production, but through promises. Debt was born, not debt as a personal obligation, but debt as a systemic force. From that moment on, money began drifting away from reality, slowly, quietly, legally. Governments saw the opportunity immediately. Wars were expensive. Empires needed funding beyond taxation. Borrowing solved the problem. And because banks could create money through loans, governments could now finance wars without immediate sacrifice. The cost would be paid later, by future generations. Debt became political power. Still, there was a limit. No matter how many promises were made, gold still existed. If confidence collapsed, paper collapsed. If too many people demanded redemption, the illusion broke. That constraint, gold, remained the last anchor to reality, until the 20th century tested it beyond its limits. World War I shattered the old financial order. Governments suspended gold convertibility to print money for war. Promises replaced discipline. After the war, nations tried to restore the old system, but something had changed. Once you show governments unlimited money is possible, going back becomes impossible. World War II finished the transformation. The world was bankrupt, infrastructure destroyed, currencies shattered, trust broken. A new system was needed. In 1944, global powers met to design it. Bretton Woods, a new monetary order. The US dollar would become the center of the world economy. Other currencies would peg to it, and the dollar would be backed by gold. On paper, it looked stable. In reality, it was a compromise built on confidence. As long as the US held enough gold, the system worked. But the seeds of collapse were already planted. The United States began running deficits, wars, social programs, global influence. Dollars flowed out faster than gold flowed in. Foreign governments noticed. They held dollars, and they wanted the gold. The math no longer worked. By the late 1960s, the US was bleeding gold. Confidence was cracking. And then quietly, the final decision was made. On August 15, 1971, the world changed. The United States announced it would no longer redeem dollars for gold. No debate, no vote, no global consensus, just an announcement. The gold window was closed. Money was officially disconnected from reality. From that moment on, money was no longer a claim on anything physical. It was no longer anchored to scarcity. It was no longer limited by nature. Money became an idea, a policy decision, a line of code, and the public was never told what that meant. Most people didn't notice. Their wages still arrived. Prices still had numbers. Banks still functioned. Life continued. But beneath the surface, everything had changed. Money was no longer something you had. It was something you were allowed to access. Without gold, there was no natural limit. The only constraints were political and psychological. Central banks could now create money infinitely, as long as inflation didn't become visible enough to cause revolt. Debt exploded. Governments borrowed without restraint. Banks expanded credit endlessly. The financial system grew faster than the real economy. And because money was no longer real, neither was the growth. Inflation became the silent tax, not announced, not voted on, just felt. Savings lost value. Wages lagged behind prices. Assets inflated beyond reach. Those closest to money creation benefited. Those farthest paid the price. The wealth gap widened. Quietly, crises became features, not failures. Every crash followed the same pattern: excess credit, speculation, collapse, and then the response: more money, lower rates, bailouts. The solution to debt was always more debt, and it worked, temporarily. Because money was no longer real, consequences could be delayed, but they could never be eliminated. By 2008, the illusion nearly broke. The financial system collapsed under its own weight. Trillions evaporated overnight. But instead of resetting the system, something unprecedented happened. Central banks intervened at a scale never seen before. They created money to save the system that created the crisis. Losses were socialized. Gains remained private. Money became explicit power. From that point on, markets no longer reflected reality. They reflected intervention. Asset prices rose even as productivity stagnated. Debt reached historic levels. And still, the public was told everything was normal. Then came the next transformation: digital money, credit cards, online banking, mobile payments. Convenience replaced awareness. Money became invisible. Most people never touched it. They saw numbers on screens and untrusted them. But invisibility brought control. Every transaction tracked, every account monitored, every flow regulated. Money wasn't just unreal, it was conditional. When crises returned, the response was immediate. More printing, more stimulus, more promises. During the pandemic, money creation reached levels once thought impossible. Trillions created in months, not backed by growth, not backed by production, backed by belief. And belief held, barely. Inflation surged. Suddenly, the illusion became visible. People felt it in groceries, in rent, in fuel. The question returned: if money can be created endlessly, why is everything getting more expensive? Because when money stops being real, prices become the signal of truth. Today, global debt exceeds all historical precedent. Money creation is routine. Central banks openly manage markets, and yet the system demands trust. Trust in institutions, trust in policy, trust in numbers no one can verify. The irony is brutal. Money was made unreal to stabilize the system, but the more unreal it becomes, the more fragile trust becomes. And trust is the only thing holding it together. Every fix avoids the core issue. Interest rate changes, regulations, new tools, but never restraint, because restraint would reveal the truth. That modern money is not a store of value, it is a system of management. So what does this mean? First, money is not neutral, it reflects power structures. Second, inflation is not accidental, it is a consequence of unlimited creation. Third, confidence is the real currency, and confidence once lost cannot be printed. The day money stopped being real wasn't marked by chaos, it was marked by silence. No riots, no headlines, just a slow shift from reality to belief. from substance to symbols, from ownership to permission. The question is no longer, when did money stop being real? The question is, what happens when people finally realize it? Because systems built on belief don't collapse gradually. They collapse suddenly. If this changed how you see money, stay with this channel.